they said they were going to save Libya, today let's go to Libya and compare Libya to that of when Omar Gaddafi was ruling Libya, and we'll find out the differences. Today, Libya is in tatters. Libya is going down. Yes. Right now that we have seen another leader in Africa rising up to serve the interests of the people, America is back again. Yes. If America want to save somebody, they can go to South Sudan. Yes. If America want to save somebody, they can go to Congo. If America indeed want to save themselves, it will be better off than they coming to save Burkina. No Burkina Bay is saying that they need their help and they should go out of Burkina. That's what we are saying.
President Traoré, I am from Jamaica. And I am praying for you. Coming the 30th. I don't know if they're going to march in Jamaica, but if they go march, I'm going to march. But if they're not going to march, I'm going to spend the whole day on my knees. Praying, begging God to cover you. Begging Yahshua, the Holy Spirit, to cover you from the plan of these enemies. When I was small, I remember Gaddafi. But I never felt it that much. Because at the end of the day, he was living in luxury. But you're not living in luxury. You are for the people. You are for the people. And I'm going to go on my knees and I'm going to pray you up, young man, in covering. Stay covered in Jesus' name.
They killed Muammar Gaddafi during the reign of Barack Obama. Here comes our own Ibrahim Traore during this intergenerational war which have threatened that Africa must unite. And now they want to eliminate our own Ibrahim Traore. Our parents were silent during the reigns of Barack Obama when they assassinated Muammar Gaddafi. Do you think we Africans youth, we shall agree and stay humble when you want to intimidate and kill our own Ibrahim Traore because he wants Africa to be dependent and Africa to become a nation rather than having sovereign nations that claims to have democracy and just imperialism affecting our nations? That's why these nations, useless, stupid nations that we are bonded, that we are bonded in a certain map which doesn't exist. That's why we are poor every time. We want Africa to become a nation and Ibrahim Traore is the leader. And the African leaders won't say anything. Not even the African Union. They will say that, I don't know, democracy. There is no democracy in Burkina Faso. And democracy itself is the fate of poverty in Africa. We want a sovereign nation called the United States of Africa. Aye. And how do we join the Burkina Faso in this war? We want to join Ibrahim Traore and protect him. We want to become the leaders of our nations, and Africa is our business, and this is the place and the land that we shall raise our own children. Touch Ibrahim Traore, we are marching forward, not even marching. Can you recruit us in the army of Burkina Faso?
Yo, what up? Boy Samadu here again. So basically, I want all Burkina Faso people to understand this. Ibrahim Traore is not only for Burkina Faso. This man is for all of us. I made a recent video about Ibrahim Traore, and so many people, you can see people from different countries, got different skin colors, they come and comment my video, they're talking about it, they're supporting us in this fight. So you gotta understand, I'm from Burkina Faso too, and I'm so proud of it. I'm African. Apart from that, I'm African. I'm from all over the world. Whatever is true, whatever is right, we're gonna support that. So basically, I'm telling you right now, this fight we gotta make together. On the 30th of April, people are coming out from all over the world to process for Ibrahim Traore and for the all Africa, for the world basically. So make sure, find out in your town, in your city, where the procession is going on. Try to join people, spend some time with them, talk about it, show up, do whatever you can. Do you hear about Thomas Sankara? Do you hear about Patrick Lumumba? Do you hear about Sekou Touré? In that moment, our parents couldn't do much because the world wasn't so developed. But right now, we got our phone, we got social media, we can see everything, whatever is going on. So we're not gonna stop right there doing nothing about it. We're gonna do something about it. So make sure you stand up and let's do this.
That one here for Ibrahim Traore. Wagwan, me general. Every black man on this earth at the moment, I support what you do. Cause here we are now. A long time them no want to see Africa stand and unite. See? Them won't go on to divide Africans. Come thief we mineral. Come divide we and fight. Make we fight against each other. See? So the thing you do right now, the general, every African pan earth I support you. See? So here we are now. When you liberate Africa and make Africa for Africans, Gaddafi did say that. I will see only part time what them do for African leader will come up, stand and try unite Africans. You see what Gaddafi do? And that you do, my general. See? We see what them do to Zimbabwe president. We see what them do to Amin Dada. Idi Amin. We see only part time. See? So when you liberate Africa, you become the first African president. Every black man on this earth should have a citizenship to Africa. Them should have come in and come out, buy property, buy land, build house, married, settle down. God, them are African. Right now, Jamaicans, them happy to see Africa a liberate. Seeing? Cause for them profit, me not call them musician enough. For them profit, see this long time. One Jamaica tell me said the last will become the first. And that are the prophecy, seeing? So Ibrahim Traore, big up yourself, the general. Right now, Africa feel the spirit of unification, uniting, loving and building one Africa. Seeing me, general?
Guess what? Africa has risen. I wouldn't say Africa uprising. Why? Because African youth are taking it by force. There is a plan for a protest on the 30th of April 2025 in favor of Captain Ibrahim Traore. Finally, after years of the West having their way and going scot-free, we are saying we are tired and we want them to get their hands off our Captain Ibrahim Traore. Let's watch this video. Now, in the past, how did these guys get their hands on some of our leaders? What they did was to spread propaganda, spread wrong narrative and information concerning our leaders. And that they have done concerning Captain Ibrahim Traore. Let's watch the video of this young man.
Africa and Africans, especially Burkina Faso citizens, to stand by Ibrahim Traore at this point so that the plan of these Westerners will not come to pass. Now, let me quickly play a video of Idi Amin. Slowly listen to what Idi Amin said, the former president of Uganda.
This is a point which I wanted to bring to your attention. And therefore, with this particular, there is the movement. Therefore, they make news in their news media. Before you can be assassinated, they can focus from the world opinion that you are murderer, you are this, you are this, you are this. But they wanted to draw the attention of the world that you are very bad, while they have already planned everything. But God is there with them.
Did you see that? They operated in this manner. So we've already studied. We know that this is how they operate. And we know they are coming for Captain Ibrahim Traore. And African youths are not going to sit back any longer. Because this is beyond just Burkina Faso. This is now a fight for our nation, fight for our continent, fight for Africa. I got a WhatsApp message on the protest that is to hold on the 30th of April. They said, on the 30th of April 2025, we are raising our voices across every African nation and the diaspora. 1, to defend Traoré. 2, to demand sovereignty. 3, to end foreign military control and exploitation. They said, this is not just about one man. This is about the soul of Africa. This is about our future, our resources, our people, our power. If we allow what happened to Thomas Sankara, Gaddafi, and the likes to happen to Burkina Faso's president, Captain Ibrahim Traore, then we are not ready as Africans for revolution. We are not ready to take back Africa from the hands of these Westerners. And we've seen it. We've seen that this is the scheme they use. This is how they plot against our leaders. And they've done it to Captain Ibrahim Traore. Imagine coming out to say that he uses the gold in Burkina Faso to enrich himself. We are not going to sit back and watch them do that. And that is why the youth are taking to the streets to demand that the West gets their hands off our Captain Ibrahim Traore.
Tell me why I'm going to the US Embassy today and finding out there was a protest going on. And yeah, I don't really know what it's about. Am I the only one who didn't know what it's about? And I still don't know what it's about. So I came to you guys to understand what's going on. And they were chanting, holding up their flags. I couldn't really recognize my flag. It wasn't there. Like the Zimbabwean flag wasn't there. The South African flag was not there. The Zambian flag was not there. It's like particular countries like Jamaican, Congolese, what else did I say? I forgot. But yeah, so basically they were holding up this man's portrait. I don't know him. I don't know the other names that were there. So I just really wanted to find out. Please let me know if you do know.
I spoke officially for the son of Africa, Muammar Gaddafi. Today, I speak up, albeit not officially, for another son of Africa, Ibrahim Traore. They came for Gaddafi and killed him. They killed Sankara before that. Lumumba. They went after Samora Machel and many others of our revolutionary sons. We must not allow them to come after our son and brother Ibrahim Traore. He is leading a genuine African revolutionary liberation project. He wants to have control for all Africans over our natural resources. He wants Africans to be united, to have African sovereignty, not just political or military, but African economic sovereignty. They come after him not because of democracy or human rights or stability, but to destroy his liberation project. Exactly what they did with Gaddafi, exactly what they did with Sankara, what they did with Samora Machel, what they did with Nkrumah of Ghana, and many other sons of Africa. Today, we must stand up. We must fight. Come with us to support the revolution in the Sahel region of our continent. Come to say no to imperialist forces of the West that keeps trying to maintain its hegemony and control over our continent. We must stand together.
This is sad, but it's true. Most of us don't know how to read the room. And when I talk about reading the room, I mean we don't know how to discern the folk that are around us, or the folk that's in our space. And consequently, we keep getting our hearts broken and our feelings hurt because we find out that people are pretenders and imposters. We find out that everybody that is in our face is not necessarily in our corner. We find out that smiling faces tell lies. One of the ways you need to read the room is you need to see how people handle your wins. Always be mindful of people who are loud on your losses but silent on your successes, because what you're dealing with is a hater in disguise. You're dealing with an imposter who is not around you for the purpose of supporting you, but rather for the purpose of undermining you. And if we're not careful, we will give our best spaces to the worst people. If we're not careful, we will allow people to occupy seats they're not qualified for. And this is the truth, y'all. Fake friends are more dangerous than real enemies.
Faso's military government says it has foiled a fresh coup attempt led by a former army.
Coup attempts against Traoré are nothing new. In April 2025, a man standing inches from Captain Ibrahim Traore was recently offered $5 million to pull the trigger. He didn't. He exposed the plot, and the president lived. But after this, everything changed. The security condition of Burkina Faso has never been better since then. Now, all forces are scared to attempt a coup. But what did Traoré do? Let's find out. When the president of a country learns that one of his bodyguards was approached with a bribe worth millions to end his life, he doesn't just sleep with one eye open. He rebuilds the fortress around him brick by brick, and this time with flamethrowers on every wall. That's exactly what Captain Ibrahim Traore did. Following the exposure of the $5 million assassination attempt, Traoré's response wasn't emotional. It was strategic, cold, and immediate. He didn't call for a speech. He activated what some insiders now refer to as the lockdown doctrine, a quiet but sweeping overhaul of everything that surrounded him: people, processes, and priorities. At the heart of this transformation was a new security doctrine, one that placed loyalty above rank and surveillance above ceremony. His first move? Reconfiguring the Presidential Guard, the very unit that had been infiltrated with whispers of treason. Entire teams were reshuffled. New operatives were recruited from obscure branches, and a new tier of background screening was introduced. Some say even personal histories were dug into, tracing back to school records, tribal affiliations, and overseas contacts. But physical proximity wasn't the only concern. Traoré understood something deeper. You don't need a gun to kill a revolution, just a leak, a signal, or an open back door. So he turned inward. Communication systems were encrypted. Phone access in sensitive areas was restricted. Foreign consultants, especially those linked to international NGOs or embassies, were quietly removed from proximity to decision-making zones. More notably, the Office of Internal Counterintelligence, a relatively dormant bureau under previous administrations, was revived with an expanded mandate. Its mission was no longer just about spying on external threats. It was now tasked with mapping the political allegiances of officers, cabinet members, provincial commanders, and even local police chiefs. Anyone who couldn't be accounted for ideologically was either sidelined or assigned harmless roles far from power corridors. And then there was the weapon Traoré had been refining since his earliest days in power, the VDP Volontaires pour la Défense de la Patrie. While officially framed as civilian defense groups trained to fight insurgents in remote areas, the VDP had quietly evolved into a second layer of protection for the regime itself. Unlike the traditional army, which had deep-rooted loyalties to older elites or French-trained commanders, the VDP were young, rural, underprivileged, and fiercely loyal to Traoré, the man who gave them uniforms, stipends, and purpose. After the plot, the VDP was mobilized in new ways. Some units were pulled back from border zones and stationed strategically near major administrative centers. Others were embedded into military bases, acting as silent watchdogs. What Traoré was building wasn't just a counterinsurgency force. He created an internal immune system against betrayal. To support this, Burkina Faso's Interior Ministry quietly rolled out new biometric tracking programs under the guise of national registration efforts. But reports suggest these systems are being leveraged to monitor movements of specific individuals flagged by the intelligence community. Surveillance now includes digital footprints, not just physical ones. But if this all sounds like a dictator tightening his grip, it's worth remembering. Burkina Faso isn't Denmark. This is a country under siege, from within and from without. Every week, armed factions loyal to no-flag-burn villages. Foreign powers whisper through NGOs. French influence still lingers in the shadows, and the regional military order is cracking at its foundation. In this context, Traoré's moves weren't just a response to a personal threat. They were a declaration of total war against the invisible enemy. Publicly, very little was said. Traoré did not hold grand press conferences to announce his new guard or parade arrests through the streets. The silence was intentional, a tactic to starve the conspirators of information while feeding their fear. What they now knew was this: someone talked, someone flipped. And the man they tried to kill had not only survived, he was more protected, more paranoid, and more prepared than ever. And it worked. In the weeks following the foiled plot, rumors of secondary conspiracies began to evaporate. Officers who once walked with swagger began asking to be reassigned to quieter posts. Key ministries started operating under tighter protocols. Even international observers, many of whom had criticized Traoré for his populist tactics, admitted that the speed and efficiency of the security overhaul were unlike anything seen in the Sahel in decades. But here's the thing about fortresses. No matter how high the walls, it only takes one open gate to let the enemy in. And the walls Traoré just built may be high, but the battlefield is vast. So the question now isn't just how he protected himself, it's why he had to. Here's a reminder to please like and share the video and subscribe to our channel to watch more videos on Black culture, history, civilization, and identity. Let's continue now. Before anyone can judge Traoré's iron grip, they need to understand the battlefield he inherited. Not the ideological one, not the rhetorical one, but the real one. A battlefield where presidents don't just lose elections, they disappear. A place where power doesn't slip. It's snatched in the middle of the night, sometimes with tanks, sometimes with whispers, always with blood. Burkina Faso, for the last 5 years, hasn't been governed. It's been fought over. When Traoré seized power in September 2022, he didn't walk into a palace. He stepped into a trap. The previous junta leader, Paul-Henri Sandaogo Damiba, had promised to restore order after overthrowing President Traoré. But instead, he became the very symbol of inertia and foreign dependence, particularly on France. The country kept bleeding. Militants torched villages. The military cracked from within. And the people. They watched as another uniformed man failed to protect them. That's when Traoré struck. At just 34 years old, he overthrew Damiba in a bold, near-bloodless coup, a rare moment of national applause. Many saw him as the Thomas Sankara of the new generation, young, defiant, Pan-African. But that moment...
Hello brothers and sisters, I really hope you're all doing fine from wherever you're watching me from. Now, welcome to another episode of Early from Africa. And I'm trying to bring you this topic. Now, it is a trending topic in the world. And so many people have been talking about this. It is the issue of Ibrahim Traore and how the Western media and the Western powers are after his life. Now, Ibrahim Traore, to those few of you who are watching, who have no idea of the man I'm talking about, this is a guy who came in power and removed the puppets, and he really is working for the interest of black people in Africa. And he has been talking about the unity of Africa, and he has been calling out countries like France, the US, who have been orchestrating anarchy in Africa and causing mayhem in the continent of Africa by simply looting, extortion, and trying to impose their puppets so that they remain in power forever. Now, this continent of Africa has come a long way, and it has suffered a lot. As a matter of fact, we have seen leaders, great leaders like Muammar Gaddafi, who were taken down by the US government and the French government just because he stood for whatever was right for Africa, and he did not have the interest of the Western powers at hand or at heart. We have been having a problem in Africa, and Ibrahim Traore, I do think this man is the absolute solution for whatever we've been saying and for whatever Africa really needs. Now, there is a guy called Michael Langley. Yes, black, right? We always expect black people to be used to fight their own brothers and sisters. You remember the issue with Muammar Gaddafi, right? There was no internet by then. And although there was internet, but few, almost 2% of the world was using internet. 1 to 2%. And to mean so many people were out of news. They were not getting real news. They were getting made up news and fake news. Now, this is whatever happened with Muammar Gaddafi. If you do not know the whole truth, you can go and check on various channels on YouTube channel or on the YouTube platform. You're going to realize the reasons they took down Muammar Gaddafi. Now, Muammar Gaddafi was being seen as a good leader, until when he started talking about the unity of Africa and making Africa as one country. Now, he was talking about the continent of Africa using one currency and saying no to currencies like the dollar, the euro, and the pound. Now, this was seen as a threat. And when Barack Obama ascended to power, they wanted to use him because he was a black president. Now, Barack Obama, together with countries like the French government, now they combined and they came after Muammar Gaddafi. Now, they paid some groups of people in Africa to go after his life and kill Muammar Gaddafi. I wish you see the state of Libya right now. They have no peace since Muammar Gaddafi died. The life that they were enjoying, paying for low gasoline, paying for low, they were actually having no mortgages because the government was paying for that. Now, free education from primary to the university, to the highest level that you wish to go to. Now, free fertilizers to the farmers, free tractors to the farmers, free electricity. They were having no bills to settle. Now, years later, after killing Muammar Gaddafi, now they have access to the oil of Libya. They have access to gold in Libya. Now, go see the state of Libya. Go to the different YouTube channels. Search, Libyans are crying out. They are regretting why. In fact, it is not Libyans who killed Muammar Gaddafi. It is the US, the NATO, because they wanted access to that country. They were talking about democracy. Now, go see whatever democracy has done to them. The people of Libya are crying out. The people are dying out of wars. Now, you must remember that the country has been divided into two, de facto. We now have the northern part and the southern part. Now, two different parties are running the country. And this is whatever Libyans have never asked for. It is whatever the US and France wanted. It is whatever NATO wanted. And we are not going to sit in Africa, see them use another black person, Michael Langley, to fight Africa or to fight Ibrahim Traore. In fact, the news that we have now from Africa is that Ibrahim Traore is at risk and his life is really at risk. He can lose his life at any moment. But the African continent has stood firm. The youth in Africa are talking on the internet. Everyone, it is now a trending topic worldwide. We cannot sit down and see the same problem that they want to do, like the one they committed with Muammar Gaddafi, the one that they did with Thomas Sankara, the one that they did with Patrice Lumumba. We are not going to allow that. It is high time we African, the people who belong to this continent of Africa, to stand with one of their own. Now, I've been receiving a lot of messages from our black diaspora, the African diaspora and the Black Americans and the FBS. They are concerned with whatever is happening in the motherland. I'm very, very grateful because we need to make the motherland great. And the only way we should support leaders like Ibrahim Traore, I do shed tears when looking at people like Michael Langley, the leader of AFRICOM, who is being used by the US government, by the European powers to come and destabilize Africa. Now, what happens if they remove Ibrahim Traore? You really know whatever will happen, right? We will have no country. Burkina Faso won't be a country anymore because they want the gold in Burkina Faso. They want the mineral resources in Burkina Faso. They are wondering how can they get access to each and every other African country, but being denied access to Burkina Faso and Mali, Niger, they are very, very angry with Ibrahim Traore. And we want them to be so much angry because we want a liberated Africa. We want an African country an African continent where we have leaders who are speaking the truth. We have leaders who are not let me say, who are not worshiping people like Donald Trump or the US system, or who are not worshiping the NATO. We want real leaders in Africa. Africa is the biggest continent. It's the biggest continent. And imagine I was going through some work of art, and they were talking about some secrets that were kept by the Western countries, like using the Bible and all that stuff, trying to change everything. Now, after that, now they did put Africa as a very small, like Africa is actually bigger than it is on the map. When you travel from the northern side to the southern, or when you travel from Chad or Equatorial Guinea now to Somali, the distance is bigger than whatever has been put on the maps. All these lies is whatever Ibrahim Traore has been talking about. He has been exposing them right, left, right, and center. And we say that we want some good leaders who are going to work for the people. I know they're trying to use this guy called Michael Langley. I can call him a slave if you can be used and accept to be used by the Western powers to come and cause chaos. This is where black people came from. This is the cradle of human beings. Even if you are an FBA, but your roots are in Africa, your parents must have come from a place to that place, right? So we must protect one of our own. We must not let they succeeded in painting up in tarnishing the name of Muammar Gaddafi because there was no internet. People were buying fake news. People were reading all these other things on newspaper, on magazines, and journals. Now, we really have news that spread so fast, and they can't beat, they can't come with the negative news while we know the positive news. We know whatever this man is doing for Burkina. We know whatever this man has done for Africa and whatever visions he has for this continent. He has been talking about the coming back of African American, the coming back of the diaspora. This is their biggest threat because the economy now it's in the hands of the diaspora. Those people who work 3 shifts a day, those people who multitask themselves, pay a lot of taxes, pay mortgages to see their country where it is. In fact, their countries were built by the sweat and blood of black folks. So let them give us a break right now. We do not want to hear any other thing concerning Ibrahim Traore. We must protect one of our own. Thank you so much.